Hi, everyone. This is Tammy, owner of Worthy, Worth It, and Priceless, and today's podcast is titled Forgive Them. That is one of I hate that statement. And if I can be totally transparent, I was in church one time, and this lady, she was pastor, she was preaching, and she was talking about something, and then she ended up saying those words, forgive them. And looked at, like, when she was saying it, she was looking at me, and I was like, and it kind of like shook me to my core, and I was like, oh God. And I remember like years ago, it could have even been around that same time, I ended up writing a blog. This was way before I had the podcast, and I wrote a blog about forgive them. And once again, it was like one of those things that it's like I hate that statement, but not like, fully hate it, but you know what I mean. The thing is that it is the hardest thing to do sometimes. But you have to realize that if you did something wrong, you would want someone to forgive you as well. I'm not saying that whoever did whatever to you, that it goes away automatically. But it is for peace for yourself. And certain things are unforgivable. So it's like, it's one of those things. But without being or trying to be politically correct of who to forgive, who not to forgive, things like that, there are certain things or certain people that you have to forgive and forget them. You can't continue your life in shambles or thinking of the offense every day. It is time for you to let that go and be free yourself. We are in a new decade. We will never see this decade again. Even like the decades that have passed, we'll never see those decades again. But we are in a new decade. Why not write a new part of life today and just forgive them? I'm not saying you have to be best friends with them at all. There's people that I have forgiven, and child, I'll never speak to them ever again. And that's it. And that's it. It's not funny, but you know what I mean. I'll never speak to them again. And I'm cool with that. But what won't happen is I'm not going to allow you to take up space in my mind that can be better utilized on something else. I'm not going to give you space in my mind or in this part of my life. You no longer serve a purpose. Why would I allow you to make me unhappy because I'm thinking of things that you've done to me in the past? It happened. God allowed us to get through those things. And now He's asking you to move on. Forgive them and move on. This is a new decade. It's not even just that it's a new season. It is a new decade. Not even that it's a new year. It's a new decade. Some things just has to be left in the past. Some things you will never get an apology for. Some things you were dead wronged for. Not that you were wrong, but you were wronged. Somebody did you wrong. And yes, you deserve an apology. But as we know, everybody isn't that mature. And a lot of people will never give you that apology that you deserve. But instead of holding yourself hostage, forgive them and move on and live the life that you are supposed to live. There is more in your future. But you will not be able to enjoy the fruits of your labor or the fruits that God has for you if you do not let that person, that situation go. Forgive them. I wrote a post earlier today, but the funny thing about that post was like, I think it's 9 or 10 years old. And in the post it said, just because someone doesn't love you the way that you want them to doesn't mean that they're not loving you with all they have. And some people, how they've treated you or anything like that, that may just be all that they knew. Not saying that it's right, that it's wrong. That's all that they knew. They may have not gotten love at home, so they didn't know how to treat you. They may have always got yelled at, so they thought that that's how they're supposed to talk to you. It happens. Not saying that it's right or wrong, but you went through that situation. God got you through that situation. Use your situation to be motivation to not do someone else that same way, and also help somebody else if they're ever in that situation as you, and you tell them how God allowed you to make it through. But what we cannot do is stay stuck in a situation in our mind or try to make someone pay for something. Let God do the repaying and you do the living. It's time for you to live and move on. It's not going to be easy. And if you can't just forgive them outright, it's understandable. Pray to God and ask Him to allow you to forgive and release that hurt and pain so you can go on with the rest of your life the way that He intended for you to live. So with that being said, always know that you have worth, you have value. Please be gentle with yourself. Love yourself, even though it may hurt certain times. Even though you might be the only one that's loving yourself, still love yourself. Be kind, be gentle with yourself. Know that you have worth, you have value, you are necessary, you are worthy, worth, and priceless. Until next time, love you guys. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you for listening to this podcast. Bye.